simping, as I said, simping has been around for a long time. Matter of fact, thousands upon thousands of years. Ancient texts talks about it in their culture, and this is one of the things that they talked about. One should not associate with a coarse fool, who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. A coarse fool is a simp, because he's like a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. He's like loyal to a fault. And that's a simp. Alright? And ancient culture is warning men and women, because this passage is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's talking to exactly, if you want to be religious, take it from a religious perspective, it's God, Kapila, it came in the name under Kapila, and it's talking to his mother, his birth mother on earth, and this is what he's telling her, he's instructing her, because that's why he came, was really to instruct her. So he is saying, if you want to take it from a religious perspective, this is God saying it. If you want to take it where you don't believe in God or whatever, and you want to take it as, it can be viewed as a cultural thing, because this was a culture back then. And it says, one should not associate with a coarse fool. A coarse fool is one who is no more than a dancing dog in the hands of a woman. You don't want to associate with people like that. Avoid those simps. And this is ancient text. Okay? The infatuation and bondage which accrues to a man from attachment to any other object is not as complete as that resulting from attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. So, being attached to a woman is likened unto complete bondage. And it's similar if you associate yourself with a lot of men who are highly fond of women. That's like their life revolves around chasing women, attracting women, things like that. What it does is basically distract from purpose. And it goes on, and I'll read this at the end, which says, realizing the true nature of the living entity, one should move about in the world free from attachment and steadfast in purpose. Okay? That's why I talk about, you work on your own goals, develop yourself, and develop your 8 healths as they apply to you, or as you see fit. Not necessarily going, to the extremes, either with none of the 8 healths, or trying to have maxed out all the 8 healths. Just balance the 8 healths. Okay? And so it continues. Among all kinds of living entities begotten by Brahma, or entities' existence, the only being immune from the attraction of Maya in the form of a woman, or the illusion of woman, is Narayana, or Narayan. And that, I guess, would be like Vishnu. If you look at Hindu, the mode of goodness. I'm not sure about that. It's something you have to look into. But Vishnu and Narayan, kind of like similar. Which is the master of the mode of goodness, of the 3 modes of material nature, which I did a video on. So here it goes to describe women as Maya in the form of a woman. So it's an illusion. Alright? Just try to understand the mighty strength of Maya in the shape of a woman. Now, we are Maya as well in the shape of a man. So, it can go both ways. Okay? Who by the mere movement of her eyebrows can keep even the greatest conquerors of the world under her grip. one who aspire to reach the culmination of yoga. So this is for guys who's like on a spiritual journey and stuff like that, and realized his self by rendering service to like spiritual services, things like that, possible religious service, should never associate with an attractive woman. For such a woman is declared in the scripture to be the gateway to hell for the advancement of those type of people seeking spiritual liberation, nirvana, growth in general. If you and Mgtow, you're out there pursuing the 8 healths, when you associate yourself with an attractive woman, it's the gateway to hell. And this is, if you want to take it from a religious perspective, this is God saying that. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's an excuse for you, some of you crazy, insane Mgtow associate type guys, to assume that women are evil. It's not that. Because women, just like us, are spirit beings. Just we are covered in Maya from man's body, and that other energy is covered in a Maya of woman. You got to get that right. The woman created by the Lord in the representation of Maya. Maybe I read that wrong. It says, the woman created by the Lord is the representation of Maya, and one who associates with such Maya must certainly know that this is the way to death. Alright? So, women, especially most women who are not really self-realized and understand who they really are as spirit beings, using the illusion of Maya in the form of a woman, they don't realize who they are. They do lead to a lot of misery and suffering and death. And this scripture or passage suggests that. And again, even though it's written as though it's religious, I think it's a cultural thing from back in the centuries, thousands of years ago. A living entity who, as a result of attachment to a woman in his previous life, so those of you who knows about like reincarnation, things like that, this is something you should consider, has been endowed with the form of a woman, foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man, her husband. So you're a woman, you were probably a man in a previous life, but you were so attached to women, you became a woman in this life. And now you're foolishly looking to your husband, right? Or man, as the bestower of wealth, progeny, house, and other material assets. A woman therefore should consider her husband, her house, and her children to be the arrangement of the external energy of the Lord for her death. Okay, so those two quotes there are specific for women. See, most women, we men, especially Mgtow, see women looking at us as a way to money grab, to like sap us dry for resources. Well, ancient culture says it's foolish for a woman to do that, because she's foolishly doing that. So if you're a woman looking at this video, understand it's foolish to look at her as a man that way. There's no benefit to you. It might be because it only focuses on sense gratification in the modes of material nature, usually in the modes of ignorance and passion. That's where it comes from, and it's a path of misery. So, and lastly, again, I read this before, I'm going to read it again. Realizing the true nature of the living entity, one should move, which is both men and women, about in the world free from attachment and steadfast in purpose. Okay? Now, being wrapped in the women being wrapped in Maya, as a woman, or Maya being an illusion, because you have to understand the way from the context in which they're speaking from in this culture is that we are the spirit being, and this body is a external energy known as Maya or illusion that allows us to interact with each other and whatnot. So a lot of times, men who are fond of women, they get attached in a way that's unhealthy, and especially if you're fond of women and it's not really your gift. You're not charismatic in the way where you can attract women that you're attracted to. So you basically become a simp, and it's basically an entrapment. And I will do another video on this once you become entrapped. And it's not about not being in a relationship. You can then get into relationships if you like, and do all the things that's involved in relationships, as long as you understand that you do not turn away from your purpose, whatever that might be. For me, it's balancing the 8 healths and navigating the 8 healths for myself. Now, say a woman is involved in my life, she may benefit or may not benefit from it. As she'll most likely benefit from it if she's a true woman, an alpha woman that has dedicated her very existence to me, rather than being a beta woman that's always trying to fight with me and compete with me. Those type of women is described, like I read, as foolish. They're foolishly looking for things to suck me dry of things and to suck you dry of things. And unfortunately, a lot of women are like that in the world. However, even if they're representations of Maya in a sense that leads to hell and all this stuff, what it means really from a spiritual perspective is that if you get entangled or trapped or distracted by the illusion of the outer body, and you become fond or addicted to the physical beauty of their body, that is a path to hell for you, and that's no fault of the woman. That's your fault. As the man, or as the living being, wrapped in Maya in the form of a man. If you want to be more detailed and specific, so play with words. But if you're a man and you're completely distracted by a woman's beauty, and you can easily become like a dancing dog, and become a simp, you still got to be about your purpose. Obviously in ancient culture, the purpose was to serve God and to live a spiritual life, to become liberated from the Hindu perspective. From Christianity, it would be being born again and serving God, Jesus Christ, in that way. They're all the same gods. Well, there's God in different forms. Basically, it's the same God. So that's how that is. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, share the video if you think it will help somebody. Stop simping if you're simping, because people, men like me, we won't associate with you in that way. Y'all have a good day.